particular surface, so you'd expect it to turn. So it's almost a do you stick or do you twist? You probably need to score runs in this first 10, but you're probably not going to get too many freebies from Netravalkar. Now, Jesse Singh, after a chastening day the other day, he's going to take the new ball. Also, interestingly, he's had a change of ends. I think he bowled all 10 from the other end 2 days ago. No gully in place. It might have been interesting if there was. He's a pretty resilient character. Jesse Singh, he's the kind of character you'd expect to bounce back.
Yeah, he's a fighter. He's going to want to bounce back and put his impetus on the game. And again, a lot of USA's hopes are going to rest on Jesse Singh. And I think Nepal are going to go after Jesse Singh. This could be a day where Jesse Singh picks up wickets because they're going to know the two left-arm spinners are going to come in with the deterioration of this wicket. Saurabh's going to be Saurabh Netravalkar. He's going to be so consistent. He's the real X factor. He's the wild card and will really sway the game.
Nicely worked away. Now, I know this is a cast iron too, but this is something you should keep your eye on in this chase. Watch how Nepal run between the wickets and watch how they apply some pressure to USA's fielders.
Yeah, it's going to be very key for them, the running between the wickets, just because, again, you don't reckon that it's as easy to bat on this surface and hit through the line, especially, again, when the spinners come on. There's going to be probably a little bit more spin than we've seen. If the cutters come out, the running between the wickets is usually so good, but ever so more important with the runs on the board.
Yeah, misfield. Was right on cue. Pressure applied on the fielder. And it's going to cost 4. No more than a push. If you're wondering whether or not there's still runs in this surface, there certainly is. Jesse Singh not pleased with that effort. Might be the youngster as well, Shrivastava. He's completely misjudged it, and it runs away for 4. Brings the 12th player into play in a big way. Nepal's fans will outnumber USA's here today by a distance.
Yeah, again, just looked like Shrivastava just ran completely around it, maybe expecting it to continue to spin backward a point. But again, those little things are going to add up here for the USA, and kind of uncharacteristic for Shrivastava. He was so good in his debut.
Bowls it. Straight through, bowls him. And Singh strikes back, and he gives it the big celebration. That's the movement that we expected throughout the day, with the kind of grey, overcast conditions that we have. And Singh, well, he might have just conceded a boundary that should have been a dot, but he strikes back from the very next ball. Asif Sheikh is gone early.
Well, you saw the big fist bump and the look back towards the fans. Why was that? Well, when he came into bowl, the Nepali faithful were giving him the business, chanting, Jesse, Jesse, and so he says, well, there you go, you wanted me on, and I've delivered wicket number 1. It's a really good delivery. It's what he didn't do 2 days ago. He's pitched it on a good length, right outside the off stump, angled in, and it's just beaten Asif Sheikh through bat and pad, picks up that first wicket, an important first wicket for USA. We've talked about it. He's the X factor in today's game. You know what you're going to get out of Harmeet Singh. You know what you're going to get from Nashkan Jagay. Saurabh's going to be good. Can Jesse Singh consistently do this right outside the off stump and swing it in?
It's just that trademark Jesse Singh angle, isn't it? And look, he's given it the shh to the Nepal fans and points at them, gives it the big celebration, maybe playing the Ali Khan role a touch for that pantomime villain. And it's going to bring Kushal Bertel to the crease early. Back at number 3. The Kushal Malla experiment has ended after just the 1 game. Makes a bit more sense to get Bertel in. Well bowled. You are going to get good reward with the new ball. That's a solid leave outside the off stump. Jesse Singh, all of a sudden, he's got his tail up, doesn't he?
You can see him just running in with way more confidence today versus how he did against Scotland. Against Scotland, again, someone with the very long run-up, was almost finishing 2 steps after he delivered the ball. He just kind of ran out of momentum. Today, you're seeing him run and finish through the crease, and there's a little bit of extra pace on Jesse Singh today. Still not at his quickest, but you can see it's much quicker than what we saw against Scotland. He's not trying to just let it go and let it swing. He's trying to bowl quick and use his angle to his advantage.
Gully into place now too. 2 straight this time, but mid-wicket will do the fielding. Mukamala. So wicket taking over. USA have that early incision that they wanted. As we get Look at the dismissal, definitely went off the surface. The angle, yes, but then that wobble seam that's become so prevalent in the modern game goes straight through to middle stump. And I'll leave you to describe the celebration, Aman.
Well, he's just giving it back, isn't he? He's playing that Ali Khan role to perfection, I guess. And a little bit of bite, a little bit of energy, and Jesse Singh's full of it. You can see he's brought it out today. That early wicket is huge, I think, for his confidence. And you can see what it's done for the fielders inside the ring for the USA. Everyone's now up, they're chirping around, especially with that misfield from Shrivastava. You just felt maybe you could have slipped, and this will be fun also. He's just stationed right behind them.
Nosh Kenjige there at backward point, probably one of USA's best fielders. Aaron Jones, a fine fielder too. He's in that slip area. See, served Netravalka, can't you? He's a thorough professional, and I know I'm saying that about a man who works a full-time job on the West Coast. You have to admire his kind of temperament, his focus on what his role in the team is. He doesn't offer much of the bat. He probably isn't the strongest fielder in this 11. He's in this team to bowl 10 important overs. He really just knows his own game so well.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing. He knows the type of bowler he is. He's not confused in the fact that he knows he's not bowling upwards of 135 into the 140s. He's probably going to peak out around 125. That's where he's going to operate. So what he does is he knows his lengths are so important, and then he knows what he can do off that length. He's able to swing it in both directions, take pace off, slow it down, and then also bowl the cutters quite well. So you see him, he's your kind of tip perfect bowler for any circumstance because of just the control.
Going to be really difficult for Nepal here. You sense someone you would imagine is going to have to play out of their skin, aren't they, to chase this total down. What they will have in their benefit is a surface that's renowned for high scores. Problem is that surface is wearing. And it's getting probably more and more difficult to bat upon as the day will go on. So who's it going to be, Aman, for Nepal that's going to stand up and get, like, if they chase this total down, it'd be unlikely you'll see 3 or 4 or 5 50s. You're probably going to need to see one big inning. Someone's got to get 100 plus.
And I reckon Kushal Patel has that in him. I think he's going to have the ability because of just how good he was in the T20s. He's figured it out a little bit. Batting at number 3, he looked very good against Scotland the other day. I think he's someone who can just stick in, bat time. I think Kushal Mala's a good shout, but I think Arif Sheikh is another man who in the middle can really provide you something. The Iceman's been so good in this series, in the ODI format, coming off a Player of the Match award performance as well. I reckon if you can just find one or two bats to support Arif Sheikh in the middle, whether that's Patel, Mala, or even if it's Rohit Paudel down the order, I think you're probably going to be all right if you're Nepal. Give yourself a chance to win this game.
I know we're still early in Cricket World Cup League 2. This is Nepal's 11th game. They'll play their 12th and final of this series on Monday against Scotland, as Netravalka completes a maiden. Nepal being shown the skills that they should have been implementing within. Cricket World Cup League 2. That belongs to Rohit Paudel, the captain, with 96. If you're wondering why Nepal are struggling to win games, that 96 was actually in a losing effort. The next highest score after that, Kushal Patel 66, then Paudel is a 60, Asif Sheikh has got 2 50s, as does Anil Shah. As Jesse Singh delivers a real beauty, that's right on the money. Arif Sheikh also got that 50 the other day to go alongside his brother, and Gulshan Jah got a rapid 50 off 35 balls up against Oman. But that makes it just 9 scores of 50 or more in the now 11 innings, including this one. And the highest score of those has been 96. The only other team yet to make 100 in this series of the 8 teams, well, actually there's 2. It's Oman and UAE. Vishnu Sukumaran made a 97. But if you're looking for a demonstration as to why they're struggling, you've got to capitalise in a way that Brandon McMullen did, in a way that Shaihan Jahangir has done, in a way that Saiteja Mukamala did down in Namibia. You get in, you've got to go big. And the surface here at Grand Prairie is good enough to do that.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is if one bats through and is able just to stick in and take the pressure, it just eases everything up for the rest of the order. And I think the USA is a big example of that. Think about Shaihan Jahangir's 100 against Nepal. What was Manik Patel able to do in that match? Just sit there. Wasn't a fluent 50, but he got to 50 and he played a lot of delivery, spent time in the middle. And since then, the 250s to follow were fluent, were shades of vintage Manik Patel. And today, Saiteja Mukamala took his time alongside Manik Patel, and Mukamala was a little bit out of the runs. Took his time, let Manik Patel take the bulk of the pressure. Once he started to get going, you could then see Mukamala find rhythm as well. That's what's been missing for Nepal. The big score not only helps that one individual, but the teammates around him.
The other thing Nepal have is that the 12th player in their favour probably got, what, 500 or 600 fans in all around the ground. The sports bar and grill is full to capacity over the far side there. It's the kind of day you'd probably rather be inside than outside. And the fans are still coming in, all dressed up in their Nepal shirts. So they've got to find a way, don't they, to ride on their 12th player, use them to kind of get in on top of USA a touch. Every run will be cheered in the chase. But I'm not sure as to whether or not they know what approach to take here. There is movement on offer, certainly. Netravalkar is very skillful in particular, and Singh's got the opening incision. How can you chase down this total if you don't get after the 2 left arm spinners? And if you don't get off to a good start, let's say Nepal are, even if they only lose 1 wicket, let's say they're 35 for 1 after 10. How do you then get to 280 odd with 20 overs of Harmeet Singh and Nosh Kenjage at you?
And that's where the consistency in bowling plays such a factor. I reckon they come into today thinking, all right, Jesse Singh's the man we're going to attack. Even with it being overcast, when he gets the ball, look to be positive against him. That's why you saw Asif Sheikh play that stroke. He didn't look to play defensively. He looked to lift it over the top of the offside. Instead, just got beaten through and through. And now Jesse Singh's bowling with real control, real consistency. And so now that game plan's just been reversed. They don't know who they're going to go after. And what I reckon is they're almost just hoping that it is Shali Van Skalkvik that just starts to spray it around a little bit, or maybe they just fall apart. Nepal now have put themselves in a position where they're banking on someone of the USA side of things to just fall apart with the ball.
Four overs bowled, 11 for 1. Yeah, great to see the colour of the Nepal fans in, always is. And, well, what have they got? Maybe a little bit of the, looks like a samosa there maybe, from the Sports Grill and Bar. There's even a Nepal football jersey there, maybe in tribute to that amazing women's performance, getting all the way to the final of the SAFF.
These are my favorite fans of the bunch. You got the USA fan mixing himself in.
Statue of Liberty on that jersey there.
I'm telling you, it's a fashionable look, Lenny. I got to ask him where he got one.
Yeah, we've seen a few faces that there's some fans that are repeat visitors as well. We've seen a few of those faces before. Edged and doesn't carry. Jones is very deep there, isn't he, for Netravalkar's pace? That's not a defensive shot. He's pushed at this. This should have carried. He's far too deep.
It's a genuine edge, and it's not the first time we've seen a ball fall short. The first time came off the shoulder of an Osa. And you can see Jones there. He just took 2 steps forward, and I still reckon he's probably a touch too deep as well.
Something we've missed, Aman, sorry, unless you mentioned it right at the start. Madank Patel doesn't have the gloves on. Shayhan Jahangir has the gloves on, so it's been a change of keeper. Your slip position will always be set by the keeper. The keeper's the one responsible for it. They're almost level here. I think they're both too deep. Netravalkar's not express pace. That should have been the second wicket. Instead, Anil Shah gets a real moment of fortune. Look at how deep he is here.
He's at least 2 or 3 strides behind the wicketkeeper. And it's, again, you're absolutely right. He's poked at it, and it's not even come close to getting to Jones. It's taken a bounce very far in front of him.
But for me, okay, you can blame Jones, yes, but that's actually, that lays with Jahangir. Jahangir had to be, he's still too deep. He looks like he's facing a bowler bowling 135 kilometers an hour here. And as a consequence, the slip and the gully are too deep. Now, big shout out to this man. You might notice that he's got the AirPods in and he's got the phone in front of him. You see there at the front, just on top of the edge. He's just realised, yes, that's right, sir. Dharam Shetty, we're talking to you right now. He sent me a message on Instagram. He says, at Cricket Badge, I'm watching live here at the ground from Grand Prairie, but I'm listening to you and Aman commentate. I can't miss the commentary when it's going on in the live game. I'm loving the action. He says, I'm in front of a big screen wearing a cap. He says, oh, there I am. I'm on that screen. I'm on this screen. Come on, give us a wave. It might be delayed because I think the Willow TV feed will be a 15-second delay. Let's see if he can give us a wave.
We need a camera on him at all times now to see what his
Look at that setup. Direction. That's a dream Saturday right there. Coffee, bottle of water, AirPods in, commentary on the phone in front of you.
And he's got the jacket if he gets cold. What more could he need?
He's loving every second. Very good afternoon to you, Dharam, and thanks a million for messaging in. He's waving now, but he's waving now when he's on screen because the message came through. Give us a wave. Great to see you, Dharam. And that's something they do really well at the Test matches in England. Actually, you can. It's not. You don't have to go onto your Willow TV or your Sky Sports as it is in England. You can buy the headset and you get it. It's actually synced live.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of in venue only. It'll only work there in the venue, and you get the commentary as it's happening. And you can kind of sometimes hear fans laughing if there's a joke, or cheering along with what the commentators are saying. Brilliant from Netravalkar again. What an over. 2 from it. 13 for 1.
Yeah, again, the consistency that was lacking with the Nepal innings with the ball. Netravalkar has found it. Anil Shah's played 18 deliveries with just the 4 runs to his name. He hasn't looked in really any control, and you can just start to see a little furrowed brow across the board from these fans before they saw themselves on the big screen. A little concern starting to weep into these Nepal faithful.
And let's just say, for example, Nepal don't win this game. They get, let's just say, for an argument's sake, they get 220. Everyone's going to go, oh, the batters have let us down. They won't have lost the game with the bat. They'll have lost the game in the first innings with the ball. Because look at the movement. Look at the assistance that the seamers are getting. And Nepal did not do that in any way consistently enough. And as a consequence, it's not quite Mount Everest. It's not quite one of the 8 peaks over 8,000 meters in the beautiful country of Nepal that they need to climb. But it's certainly a pretty decent sized mountain that Nepal are going to have to get up. I think almost all the high peaks, the kind of the 3,000 plus peaks, are in. I was going to ask you the highest in Texas as well, because I don't think there's many mountains down here, but let me just check. It is Mount McKinley, also known as Denali, its local name. But yeah, everything in the top 10, all in Alaska. and they're all part of either the Alaska Range or the St. Elias Mountains. They're tiny. Well, actually, in fairness to Mount McKinley, 6,190 meters. That's pretty good going.
Pretty good. It's not Nepal. We're not
like
in the Himalayas. A Saturday walk, if you will.
A dada, if you will. Nicely straight driven. Yasser Mohammed on as a subfielder. Does the fielding at mid-off. Yeah, there's nothing in the lower 48, if you will, that the kind of somewhere that's not Alaska that is higher than 4,422 meters. Mount Whitney in the Sierra Nevada range in California is the main one down there, and then everything else is kind of Colorado. There is one big one in Washington, you're right, that's Mount Rainier.
Rainier, that's what it was.
Is that the one you were thinking
Yes,
of?
it was, yeah. It was. I always remember it because it's symbolic of being in Seattle. It's rainy over there. So that's why it comes to mind.
It's number 17 on
I know,
this.
it's not great. It's a poor showing for me.
I'm so glad you didn't get onto Google before I asked you. So we can point that out. Every run, even leg buys, whatever they get Nepal, their fans are cheering them to the hilt. Incredible support here. Is there even a mountain in Texas? I don't even know.
I don't reckon there is.
Highest peak in Texas. Let's have a look. Well, it's known as Hill Country. There is a... It's really not a mountain, is it?
No. It's talking 924 meters is what the highest.
It's not even called the highest natural point in Texas is Guadalupe Peak.
Yeah. It's not even called. They got Bush Mountain after that. It was only 290 meters. Mountain?
Oh dear. Well, Texas, big sky country, that's why. 6 overs bowled. Good stuff from Jesse Singh. Let's hope he's all right. Doesn't look 100% fit. He might go off. Right now, where this series is at, USA heavy favourites in this contest right now. Still time for it to change. If they win, they'll go top of the table. With everything that's gone on in the last 2 weeks, although it's been an exceptional year for American cricket, we'd be pretty satisfied with that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and I think it carries some momentum into 2025, into January, when you have that next stage of the Cricket World Cup League 2. And again, for the USA, coming off really a tour where head coach is gone, Monik Patel was out of form, Shaheen Jahangir wasn't in great form. To get these guys in the right places and for the team to kind of rally around the back half of this tour. It'll be really important for them to build momentum into the next phase.